Good evening, and welcome to It's Your Money. I'm George Millar, your host, and with me this evening from the Canadian Imperial Bank of Commerce, Barbara Plank and Arlen Corp. And welcome to tonight's edition of the program. We want to begin this evening by talking just a little bit about the role of the chartered bank within the financial community, and then move on to what the chartered banks can do for you in terms of helping you manage your money and, of course, increase it through that management program. Harlem, I guess we're leading off with you. What is the situation? There's lots of different organizations, institutions there in the financial world these days. What's the role of the chartered bank within this community?
I think the role of the chartered banks changed a great deal in the past few years. It's no longer just a safe place to put your money. As you pointed out, there's a lot of different financial services that we can offer the consumer nowadays. Everything from a basic account, something they can use to pay their bills, write the check for the groceries, through savings for whatever particular reason they want, children's education and so on, and long-term, short-term investments, term deposits, investment certificates. The whole gamut, really. It's, as I said, changed an awful lot in the last few years.
Okay. This is due to the change in the Banking Act.
That's correct.
A few years back. And it would appear, Barbara, that now you're offering some of the services we used to think that perhaps the near banks used to offer, and brokerage houses and so on. Are there any of these in particular that maybe we should elaborate on here this evening in terms of people going to you and saying, this is how I want to make my money grow?
Yes, as a matter of fact, a lot of people aren't aware that the banks do offer a lot more products than they did a few years ago. For example, we now are into the mutual fund market, where this is about our third year into mutual funds. We have licensed registered representatives in most of our branches across Canada, and a person can come in and sit down, and we have a whole vast array of different plans that they can get into. Mm-hmm. As most people are aware, a mutual fund is a pooled bank of money, and you can invest in the less riskier things such as a T-bill account or a money market account, all the way down to very risky ones that invest a lot in the stock market. And
those could all be done through you as opposed to going to a stockbroker?
That's correct, yeah. And they are very accessible. A person only need come in, make an appointment, and we can sit down, and the money is invested that day into the market.
How does a person decide what type of investment is good for them?
Okay, what we normally like to do with a customer, if we feel, say they are interested in something like a mutual fund, before we get into exactly what the accounts offer, we sit down and talk to them and talk about what their plans are for their money. Some things they might only want to invest that money for a few months, because in a few months they're going to be buying a new car. Or a lot of people have some excess money left over that they want to put in for the long term, for example, for retirement or saving for their kids' education. So before we get into what they're wanting, the actual plans that they're wanting, we got to determine what their plans are for the money.
Okay. And when somebody comes to you and says, I want to develop some kind of a savings program, is there any kind of rule of thumb, Harlan, that you might use to say, well, this portion of your basic take-home earnings might go to that sort of thing?
Well, there's a way of dealing with that. If a person's making some sort of an application for a credit facility, we will work out what we commonly refer to as a TDSR. It's a total debt servicing ratio. Yes. And that gives us an idea of how much of their disposable income is needed to look after servicing the debt and their other obligations such as their mortgage and food and hydro and so on. We do have a kit, for lack of a better way of putting it, the branch that a customer can use for their personal budget, work out how much money they need to look after their day-to-day expenses, and give them an idea of exactly how much they would have left over that's disposable to use for investment purposes, saving, expenditures of a fun nature, shall we say, vacations and so on. So the customer could use that, determine how much they have disposable, and then figure out what portion, it's a personal decision really. Just determine how much of this disposable income they want to invest with us. And then, as Barbara said, from there then we'd have a look and see exactly what they're looking for, whether it's a short-term, a longer-term investment, whether or not they want the money readily accessible or locked in. Normally, of course, if you're going to something that's locked in for a set period of time, you're going to get a slightly better return on your investment.
Yes.
One of the most popular ones we have right now is what we refer to as the Guaranteed Investment Certificate. It's an instrument that's offered actually by the Commerce Mortgage Corporation. We're acting as agents for the Mortgage Corporation in issuing it. And they can range anywhere from 1 to 5 years. You have the opportunity of taking your interest in a monthly, semi-annual, or an annual payment. And we can look at it and, as I said, basically tailor it to whatever the customer needs. We find they're very popular with a lot of our seniors customers that have got some money and they're looking for a regular return on it, like a monthly supplement to their pension and so on. And they'll come in and take it out for 3, 4, 5 years with a monthly interest option, and they're getting a nice little supplement to their pension.
Right. Barbara, you mentioned the idea of needing to know whether it's short-term investment or long-term, and you also alluded to the difference between perhaps aggressive investments and perhaps more cautious or conservative. Is there a corollary there? Is long-term or short-term perceived as one being safer or more aggressive?
No, I wouldn't say it came down to whether it was long-term or short-term. It's rather the instrument that you're putting it in. For example, if you're into a fund, say that's investing in the stock market, over the long term, the stock market will give you a better return, say, than an interest-bearing account. But it really boils down to what your risk tolerance is. I feel, anyways, that if it bothers you to watch your money fall,
Yes.
in a month's time you get a statement and your fund is worth less than you put in. If that's really going to bother you, then that shouldn't be what you should be investing in. But I guess you could say over the long run, the stock market does produce, if you're willing to leave your money in there over the long run, it will give you the better return.
Okay. What would you recommend is the most important thing that a person looking for some kind of not only financial services, but institution or perhaps person that they would have handle this for them? What's the sort of thing that you would say this is the most important, or it's a key factor in the relationship or in whether or not this is going to work for you?
Do you mean, I'm not quite sure.
Okay, I guess what I'm saying is when somebody has a look around and they say, well, there's the ABC Corporation and there's this corporation and there's that type of investment service here and they've got a different one over there. Is it the type of institution, or is it something else within the nature of the dealings that those people have? What would be the main thing that would leave a person feeling that's good for me, I can feel secure with it?
I think basically all the financial institutes are probably offering the same products, just with different names. And what a person is going to end up deciding on is probably the relationship they've built with their banker at a particular institute. We like to feel that we'll take you as a customer and sit down and spend time. If it takes 1 or 2, 3 appointments, that's all right, as long as you know what you're getting into and this is what you want. And if the customer can feel comfortable that they can phone you at any time or whatever, just to check up with it, I think that would be the deciding factor. of them going to us and investing in whatever product they come to decide on.
So it sounds like it boils down to trust and sense of, are you giving service?
Exactly.
Okay. Now, before a person starts this shopping around routine, or maybe they don't shop around, maybe they say, I've got an account at this bank, I walk in and deal with the people there or whatever, is there anything that they should read or study? I'm a naive investor, and I really don't know for sure which direction I want to go. Is there something I should be reading? Harlan, you did mention the consumer assistance kit, I think you referred to, but beyond that, background material, or is there a particular book that says this is how to get the best out of your money?
I don't know of any particular book per se. I think the most important thing, the thing that probably drives most of the consumers that we deal with, is no different than dealing with a supermarket or a department store or whatever. What they're looking for is value for money. And as Barb said, most of the different financial institutions have the have basically the same products with minor variations. We like to think that the products we're offering give our customers the value for their money. What I would suggest, if, as you say, you're a naive investor and you're looking around, go to the different financial institutions, make yourself a list of questions that are important to you, the things that will help you reach the decision. I know that we have pamphlets and brochures and so on that basically outline simply and in plain English what our product is, what it can do for you, what the benefit to you will be, and obviously what it's going to cost you if it's something that's if that's applicable.
Okay, we're going to take a break in just a moment. Take a look at some of the financial figures for this week. And then we're going to come back and pursue this discussion further with people from the Canadian Imperial Bank of Commerce, Arlen Corp, and Barbara Plank. And so we'll be right back after these messages. George Millar back with you, and we have in the studio again Arlen Corp and Barbara Plank from the CIBC. We've been talking about particular investment strategies that can be provided by the chartered banks. And Harlan, you had mentioned the guaranteed investment certificate, and I believe you commented something to the effect that retired people or seniors tend to find this attractive, and maybe we can go into some of the other types of investment programs and perhaps take a look at just who would see that particular type of investment as attractive, nailing it down to age groups, perhaps more than talk about income bracket, that type of thing.
Okay. Well, as far as age groups go, we start very young, actually. We offer an account, it's referred to as a Smart Start account. And this is a youth account specifically for anybody up to the age of 18. Once they reach their 18th birthday, then we would encourage them to switch it over into a regular bank account. But this is an account, as I said, it's designed specifically for the young consumer. It has, when they come in and open it, they get some little perks with it, a book basically outlining how the bank, what goes on in the bank and what's happening with their money, how the interest is paid to them, and so on. From there, we have a wide variety of different accounts available, interest-bearing checking accounts. We have another account, the Investor's Rate account, that is also issued by the Mortgage Corporation. Pays interest on a tiered basis depending on how much you have in the account. And again, that's another account that people find very attractive, mainly because they're getting a good return on their money, but at the same time, the money is readily accessible. They need, they need money out of that account. It's just simply a matter of writing a check on it. And again, if they want to buy a car or a major purchase of some sort, they want to take some money out of that. It's simple for them to get at the money. It's not locked in for any period of time. Another product we offer, very attractive for the the average working person, retirement savings plans. A lot of different people, especially self-employed people and so on, don't have a pension plan at the place they work, and this gives them a chance to tuck some money away for for their retirement income.
I was glad you mentioned the self-employed as perhaps needing it. Most other people probably would feel that the plan that's been negotiated through their contract or whatever meets their needs. What would be your feeling on that?
If you've got the money in your personal budget that you can afford to put a little bit extra into an RSP, it's certainly not going to hurt. There is still a provision in the Bank Act for somebody that is in a contributory or even a non-contributory pension plan to make additional contributions to an RSP. Obviously, they're not entitled to contribute as much as a person that is not under one of these plans. It's calculated on a percentage basis up to a maximum of $3,500 if you are working somewhere that you are paying into a contributory pension plan, and $6,500 if you're not.
Okay, we'll let you go on with some of the others in just a moment, but something just clicked in the back of my mind, and I believe it has to do with this type of program, that if you're going to get in, now is the time to do it. There's government legislation is set up to, in about 3 years' time, diminish the amount you can invest in it. Am I thinking the right program, or is that a different one?
Well, there had been some talk about that. To the best of my knowledge, that hasn't been enacted yet.
I see. Was it in that type of program, or was it a different one?
What they're doing, in January 1991, the contribution levels are going to change, and actually you will see self-employed type of people will be able to contribute more money than they could in the past.
Okay. It's not just a window for a short period of time or anything, though. Somehow I got that understanding that it was a short-term thing that people could.
To the best of my knowledge.
Okay.
No.
Naive. Right. Carry on. You were talking about other types of investment packages.
As I said, just touching back on the RSPs for a moment, there are two different varieties available. We have what we refer to as the deposit plan. The comparison I like to use is look at the deposit plan as a savings account. You can make a deposit to it any time. You can withdraw from it any time if you wish to withdraw some funds from your retirement savings plan, and the interest rate fluctuates up and down. The other one we have is what we refer to as a guaranteed rate plan. That's very similar to a term deposit or an investment certificate, where you're getting a specific interest rate for a specific period of time, and you're locking it in for that specified amount of time.
Okay. I find it odd to think that with a registered retirement savings thing, you can fluctuate out as well as in, sort of at any given moment, and have easy access to it. Isn't there a tax umbrella as you place your money into that?
Yes, you get a tax. Your contributions are deducted from your taxable income. Some people find them very useful if they have the sort of job where they're working, say, on a contract basis, where 1 year they may be working on a specific project for the full year or whatever, and have a lot of taxable income. They make the contributions to the retirement savings plan, get the tax break that year, and then the following year the contract runs out, whatever. So they're only working for 4 or 6 months of the year. Then they withdraw some money from the retirement savings plan, and in effect what ends up happening is their taxable income is lower that second year, so they're reducing the amount of income tax they end up paying as a whole.
Okay, but would they not wind up paying a higher rate of tax on the amount that they withdraw?
Not necessarily.
Not necessarily,
no.
Eh? Okay.
It's the tax that's just deducted from the amount they withdraw is just done on a straight percentage basis, depending on the amount that they withdraw, and then the fine tuning, if you would, comes when they do their taxes at the end of the year.
Okay. The only reason I wanted to go into that is my understanding was that it worked essentially like a company retirement investment program, where when you pull it out, there is a big chunk of income tax that you're hit with right now, type of thing, 50% or whatever.
Well, no, if it's under $1,000, they hold back 10%. Between 1 and 2, they hold back 20, and anything over 2,000, they hold back 30%. And quite conceivably, if, say, you took out $3,000, but that was basically the bulk of your income for the year, 30% would definitely be excessive. You end up getting a refund back from the government.
Okay. cleared up on that one. Let's move on then.
Okay, but the only other thing I could add as far as the retirement savings plans go, once you get to the point where you're in the year that you're reaching your 71st birthday, you have to take and whatever funds you have that are in your retirement savings plan and make some arrangements basically to have it start paying back to you on a regular basis. Normally what the customers would do is go into what we refer to as a RIF, or retirement income fund.
Mm-hmm.
And again, there's different ways of setting that up, but in effect what it ends up doing is paying them back on a steady monthly basis, giving them a retirement income.
All right, Barbara, if someone were to come to you and perhaps want an RRSP, is there an age cutoff where you would say, no, that probably isn't the route you would want to go at this point in time?
Well, basically, first of all, they have to be working and earning an income.
Mm-hmm.
And if they are, right up until they're 71 years of age, they're eligible to put money into a retirement savings plan.
Okay, I'm not thinking so much about eligibility as
Whether it's
usefulness to them.
I believe it's useful to them at any time point
Okay.
in their working career.
And so it would again be whether they want to do something that's relatively conservative as opposed to getting into aggressive investment.
Exactly.
That would make the decision.
Even with the RSPs, you can get into investing in mutual funds and basically all of our other investment products.
Mm-hmm. All right. You were talking with us off camera a little bit about some of the other ways in which CIBC is working to help their clients, your clients,
Mm-hmm.
achieve things, and perhaps we could take a brief look at that type of thing now.
As I mentioned before, I think that the products that all the different financial institutions offer are basically the same. I think where we are trying very hard to set ourselves apart from the others is in the level and the quality of the service that we provide to our customers. We're making sure that the staff that are working the branch are knowledgeable in the areas that they're dealing, trying to make sure that they have the information at hand to answer the questions that the customers may have. We're also doing a lot of things internally to try and basically free the staff up so that rather than having to deal with the internal paper and that sort of thing, they've got the time to deal with the customer, to excuse me, to assess their needs and offer them the right the right financial instruments or investments, whatever it is they're looking for. When we moved into the renovated premises here back in September, we instituted a couple of different things there. We are now running what we call a central cashier system, which basically means there's only one teller in the branch, and in effect what it does is it means it's everybody, including myself, Barbara, our manager Ray Doré. If it gets busy, they can go up onto the customer service line and look after the customers. I have a personal target of trying to make sure that nobody in there that comes in even on a busy day waits in line any longer than 7.5 minutes. And we've been lucky so far in that we've been able to achieve that.
Probably couldn't have done that before the renovations, could
Absolutely
you?
not, because unfortunately it gets to the point where when each person has the individual till that they're responsible for, and nobody else is allowed in there. So
Yes.
if you get 7 tellers and they've got 7 lengthy transactions, we're stuck. There's nothing we can do. So that's the beauty of this system. We've also implemented an in-branch instant teller, automated teller machine. Most of your basic banking transactions can be handled 24 hours a day through that.
Yes.
Simple, very simple machine to use. We have the facilities to issue the banking cards on premises. Come in and see us. 5 minutes later, I can have you up there using the machine, depositing your money, paying bills, transferring money, cash advance on your Visa, you name it, we can do it through that machine.
And that has certainly changed things for clients of all the banks
Absolutely.
right across North America, hasn't it?
Worldwide.
Yes.
Right across North America.
Yes. Okay. One thing I'm going to toss at you that sounds like it's straight off the wall, and we don't have a whole lot of time to go into it, but a writer on financial services made the comment a few years ago that the big reason why we had an inflation, and of course when you have an inflation it appears sometimes you of necessity have the other part of the cycle, the recession or the downturn. And he made the comment that the whole reason for the inflationary package a few years ago was because of Mary at the Royal Bank. Now what he meant by that, of course, was simply that the banks were making it much easier for people to access money, get loans and so on. Is there anything at all in that?
Well, as I said before, it's a rather simplistic way of looking at it. I think in that comment he's trying to divest financial responsibility of the average consumer. He's trying to take it away from them and place it in our laps, and I don't really think that it's entirely a fair comment.
Okay.
I don't think it's wrong to make it easier for people. It's like any other service or any other commodity. It's there for you to use if you use it wisely. Unfortunately, again, like any other commodity, there are some people that can't, that for whatever reason are unable to or unwilling to plan a family budget and stick to it. And it's not really, it's not all that hard.
Yes.
My wife will laugh at that because she's the one that does the family budget at home. But
Okay, so what you're really saying, I guess, is that with any of these things, it's a matter of the consumer being knowledgeable and interested in really staying on top of his or her money and making it work for them, and you just provide the services to make it easier.
And if they're trying to make a decision, as I said before, we'd be more than happy to provide them with the information. I'd be glad, anybody wanted to come and sit down and talk to me, or Barbara, or any of the staff in the branch, I'd be glad to take the time to sit down and let's determine exactly what you're looking for, what you want, why you want it, and we can work out something for you.
Great. This has been It's Your Money with Arlen Corp and Barbara Plank of CIBC, and I'm George Millar. Thanks for watching.